So I just got back from the theater seeing Joker 2, aka Joker Foile, Deux. And we got a lot of things to unpack here. Now, with all movies, I try to go into it with an open mind. I did the same thing for the first one. I went into it with an open mind, and my mind was blown away. No Murray Franklin, spoiler for the first Joker movie. And this one, not so much. Now, when you go into a movie, sometimes it's not what you expect, and that could be a good thing. I went into this movie not knowing what to expect, even though I tried to stay as far away from spoilers as possible. And as soon as I heard it was going to be a musical, I'm like, this could be interesting. I'm going to tell you guys right now, minor spoilers. This movie is 80% musical, 20% psychological thriller. And where a lot of people think that this movie falls short is it's trying to do too many different things. It's trying to be a psychological thriller. It's trying to be a romance movie while balancing musical and then trying to somewhat throw elements of comedy in there. And it's hit or miss. Well, I would say it's like 70% miss, 30% hit. And a lot of people wanted to go to the movie to see Joker being Joker. But you only get Joker maybe like 10 or 15 minutes out of the entire movie. Other than that, he's Arthur Fleck. And the whole plot of the movie is his trial. And then when Harley Quinn, Lee Quinn, played by Lady Gaga, gets introduced, you just kind of throw a little bit of her origin story from the comics in there with her having Stockholm Syndrome and her being fascinated with the Joker. They do leave that element in there, but they throw a little bit of a twist on it. Some of y'all might like it, some of y'all might not. It was just okay and decent to me. Now, the fact that this movie is mainly a musical might bother a lot of y'all, especially people going in expecting to see the Joker be a psychotic supervillain, but this isn't that. Now, they did do certain things right with the sound choices. I mean, I like how they did a few callbacks to the original Joker movie with some of the music, but I think they could have toned the musical element just a bit down a little bit further. Like, I wasn't bothered by it so much until they started overdoing it, and there's a point in the movie where you're just like, okay, now they're starting to overdo it a little bit. There wasn't much action or special effects in the movie. Well, maybe in the last 15 or 20 minutes of the movie, as expected, but the cinematography and the way the movie was shot and the lighting, all of that was great. I feel like all the movie buffs and, cameramen and aspiring photographers, I feel like that's an aspect of the movie that you guys will like. Now, for the performance that a lot of y'all have been waiting for, how did Lady Gaga do as Lee Quinzel, aka Harley Quinn? Now, from a acting point of view, she wasn't a bad Harley Quinn. Now, as far as staying true to the over-the-top, lovey-dovey, Mr. J Harley Quinn character from the comics and the TV series, they kind of fell short there. And like I said, you can't really compare that to other iterations of Harley Quinn because this Joker movie was originally just supposed to be a standalone one-off. And with the way this movie is performing so far with criticism getting, I can kind of see why it should have remained a one-off. But one thing that I did like is a few of the Easter eggs. Mainly one with Harvey Dent. Well, minor spoiler. I mean, I guess you guys will know where I'm going with this for people who are familiar with DC comic lore. They made a little bit of a reference to that. But aside from the plot of the movie being all over the place, man, there's some elements of this movie that get incredibly dark. And I'm not talking about with just people being, victimized. Well, yeah, people being victimized, but they go in a darker element that I don't want to say that there's a certain scene or two that might make some of y'all feel uncomfortable. It does get disturbing. I'll just leave it at that. But I guess the underlying message of the movie was who's Arthur Fleck and who is the Joker, and are they the same person? And they're trying to figure out whether Arthur Fleck is sick and the Joker's a split personality, or Arthur's completely sane and he's just a psychopath who just so happened to take the lives of 5 innocent people, 6 if he counts his mother. And also the romance element is Harley Quinn falls in love with what she's seen. She falls in love with the Joker. But does she fall in love with Arthur Fleck or does she fall in love with the Joker himself? And we find that as she tries to pick his brain a little bit more in the movie. But there is a little saying that goes something like this. Never meet your heroes because they always disappoint you. And Harley does learn that to a certain degree. But also, knowing what she knows, does she stay Harley Quinn? They leave that up in the air. Now, For people who saw my Joker 1 review all those years ago on YouTube, I gave that movie a 5 out of 5 stars, a perfect 10. You can't get better than that one. And this movie kind of showed why they should just leave certain movies alone, why certain movies don't need a sequel. I'll give Joker 2 a 5.5 out of 10. But for people who've seen it, what do you guys think?